and welcome to the Itinerary. Today we are going to get a bit of much needed R&R by delving into the niche market of wellness tourism, which is travel associated with the pursuit of maintaining or enhancing one's physical and inner well-being. With me today is Chris Willey, Program Manager at Aroha Resort, Carl Muir, founder of Provider Retreats, Mel Carroll, Director of Wellness Retreats NZ, and Jolene Ramby, founder of Resolution Retreats. Kia ora everyone, thank you so much for joining us this morning on the Itinerary. I'd love to start off by exploring how each of your companies, or the wellness aspects of those companies, started. How did the idea come about? How did your career pathway lead here?
Our package that we offer is very much around specifically about men's wellbeing. From my research, I didn't see a lot of packages out there specifically for males, and I myself have been in tourism for coming up 18 years. Started out as a fishing guide after working for the destination tourism marketing head, Tourism Coromandel, and yeah, sort of 15 to 17 years as a fishing guide, and doing sort of the same thing all the time. I quickly realised, well, what we're doing at the moment isn't it? It's sort of pivoting, and I did that pivot maybe a little bit before COVID and realised that what I offer, fishing, good clean food, is really the heart of wellness, and showing people that food doesn't come plastic wrapped from a supermarket. Actually, what humans used to do is they used to go out and hunt and forage and collect it themselves. In addition to being a tourism guide, I actually trained because I was going down this pathway as a health coach as well with a company called Precure. And so that's given me the grounding in things like diet and fitness and mindfulness to add to my repertoire as a guide.
I worked for 10 years in the corporate industry, and I had previously been through a health journey of my own, and I wanted to take my mum and my sisters on a retreat where effectively they could learn some of the wellness and health tips that I had learned through my own health journey. And I wanted to focus to be specifically on women's health, and there was literally no options in New Zealand. We would have had to have gone overseas to get it. And over my own health journey, I had developed a love for cooking and for yoga and movement through yoga. And I was working as an accountant at the time at an NZX listed company. And I decided to start running retreats for women, exclusively for women, in my weekends and annual leave from my work. That was in 2012, and we started running 4 retreats a year, and then it grew slowly and organically from there. In 2015, I left my corporate life completely, and my team has grown to about 30, which includes full-time staff as well as contractors, and we run a health retreat from the Waikato exclusively for women's health.
I established wellness retreats 7 years ago now in 2014, and that was on the backbone of my own personal wellness journey. 15 years ago, I hit rock bottom due to stress and my lifestyle, and was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome. So that was a huge pivotal turning point in my life, and has taken me on the journey to where I am today, discovering natural health and yoga and meditation. So this is all formulated in our retreat programs, and I very much offer what I have learned along my journey, and to inspire men and women come to our retreats. We have women only, and then retreats for men and women. And COVID has pivoted us to go more into wellness tourism. So that's where we're doing pop-up locations all throughout the country for people to also discover that adventure travel as well, alongside the well-being that we all need more than ever right now.
Chris, I'm sure you can give us this perspective of why your role and Aroha appealed to you as an employee.
I don't really have to put on a mask, put on a hat for my work. And so friends that know me inside and outside of work just see me as me, and it's rare. It's a privilege. It's not the norm at all. And I've spent some time in the corporate world, and I resonate with a few of what a few of you have said, of just kind of turning the wheel and working a sales job and being like, I just don't know if this is it. And I feel blessed to have realized that relatively quickly, and gotten out.
So what does one do on a wellness retreat?
Our retreats are typically for different males from quite often completely different backgrounds, and I think one of the great things about that is if a lot of these people are doing the retreat because they recognise they need to de-stress before their health does deteriorate. So they're under a bit of stress, they might be going through a bit of stuff in their lives, and so they're looking for a reset. Really, it's a matter of immersing yourself in the whenua with tangaroa, and we're out there catching our kai, foraging our kai, and we come back and we cook it up. So breakfast, lunch, dinner is predominantly off the land, which for a lot of people in society these days, that is novel. This retreat's about actually taking 4 days out specifically to invest in yourself.
Our main focus for women is progress, not perfection. And that's about letting go of these really extreme expectations that we seem to have for ourselves around health, and the perceptions that you have to be perfect to be healthy. And once we encourage people to let go of those expectations, we find them celebrating the wins and being motivated by the wins rather than consistently beating themselves up for not being good enough. And that's where we dig into the psychological side of things, rather than just telling you to move more, eat less, eat real food, all of those kind of things. We're also focusing on the psychology behind why we do what we do, which is actually really refreshing for our guests.
So our retreats offer a different experience each time. So, of course, with incorporating wellbeing, that's definitely at the forefront. Number one, adventure and travel. So, for example, at the beginning of the year, I hosted a couple of women surf and yoga retreats up at Waipu Cove, 3 nights, 4 days. A lot of ladies had never surfed before, so we created a hugely powerful, safe space for them to do so. And we also have a lot of fun on our retreats. So that was a combo of yoga and the surfing. And just recently, I've hosted a retreat just out of Auckland, down near the Waikato. And that was very much fitness focused yoga, along with nutrition and wellbeing workshops. So wellness retreats aligns with New Zealand's leading wellness practitioners and wellness brands. So I actually craft and create events that are very different. So we have a lot of retreat offerings, and that allows our customers to keep coming back.
What kind of roles are available at wellness retreats? Just in case we do have people who are listening in thinking, ooh, I'd like to do that for a living. Who are you hiring, Jolene?
Most of our women are between 40 and 60. There are people either side of that, but that's the majority of our group there. So we are looking for people who are, I suppose, can have the confidence with those women to be able to listen, be empathetic, but also to give advice, which I know for younger people can be a little bit intimidating with older people. And so we're looking for people who are pretty confident. The other thing, if I'm completely honest with you, running retreats in New Zealand is not a big money spinner, despite what some people in the industry might perceive. And one of the things which might be interesting for people who are looking at getting into this space or working in this space is that it's really important for us that our team have multiple skill sets. So, for example, if you're a nutritionist, you might also be a yoga teacher. If you're a massage therapist, you might also be involved in the retreats in another way.
Yeah, looking for individuals that align and are kind of possibly a jack of all trades. I agree with you there, and kind of like fitting the form of the family at Araha. And I think time and time again we've hired individuals for who they are as people and less of kind of on paper what they're about. Because at the end of the day, we're all in the hospitality industry. We're in the person-to-person industry of holding space for people and guiding individuals through an experience. And so to have the skill set, not only to maybe host a yoga class, but then what about sitting down at dinner and having a chat with a group of people while eating a meal? That's a whole nother skill set that not every, like you said, massage therapist would have. So these well-rounded individuals are quite unique. I'm sure you've all found to fill that spot. But when you find these people, that's what I think is just creates the magic of the teams at all these retreat centers.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with both of you. And I think too, it's number one is someone is having a passion for people, passion for wellness, passion for health, and a lot of compassion for our guests. And as you've both said, they're such diverse roles. I always look at hiring people with an event management or event background. I've actually worked on super yachts myself for a good 3+ years, and the training you actually get in that is huge, with long hours, adapting, reading people, reading their energy, when to talk to them, when to not, when to give them a hug, when to not. All of those things we do on a retreat, hosting, facilitating, and yes, adapting to teaching yoga. So it's learning to adapt, I think, on retreat, and just reading people's energies is really key, especially your guests.
Do you consider yourself to be in the tourism industry or the health sector?
Ever since I was young, all I wanted to do is show people my backyard, and so I've always considered myself tourism. Now with a fresh set of eyes, I would say I've got a foot in both camp, but I would almost challenge anyone in tourism really to have a think about how they can incorporate their clients' well-being and the well-being of their community and the planet into their offering.
I'm curious to know who your audience is, the numbers you see, and just understand how and where you market your product, especially in this COVID world too.
As I've mentioned, we are wellbeing travel focused. So the wellness tourism is huge for us right now, and especially with the recent launch of our retreat into the rainforest down in Franz Josef. So we're actually pulling in local little tour operators down there. So we've included a scenic landing on Fox Glacier with the local helicopter company, and ticket to the Kiwi House, and using local massage therapists. So they all promote our retreats very much through their channels, and Wellness Retreats is a big following, a big database, and a lot of online social media is key for us. And we just have, once again, as I said, our word of mouth following is key as well with our returning guests.
For us, most of the people who are coming on our retreats have already decided that a retreat is what they need, which is really interesting. And so for us, it's key is being in Google, ranking really highly in Google. So that's really key for us, for our New Zealand audience in particular. Previous to COVID did have quite a big proportion of our market coming from Australia, from the eastern seaboard of Australia. And so that's something that we are looking forward to resuming again.
Is there a growing market for wellness tourism? And what can we expect from its future?
Yeah, I think right now Kiwis need health and wellness more than ever. And from my learnings, when I burnt out with chronic adrenal fatigue 15 years ago, no one really knew what that was. Now we all know what mental health issues are: burnout, adrenal fatigue. And I think post-COVID and now in these times, people are realizing that holistic natural health is hugely powerful.
We've been really surprised, I suppose, by our government regulatory agency with Tourism New Zealand. We've been really surprised at how slow it has been to get support in this area of wellness tourism. We certainly don't, certainly Resolution Retreats doesn't fit into that traditional tourism model where people can drive past and pull in and have a day with us, and it just doesn't work like that. But at the same time, we get a lot of people come from overseas or within other regions of New Zealand, and invest in our local community and spend time with us, which from my point of view, I do believe that is tourism. However, we have struggled to get buy-in from those agencies in terms of how do we market our product on the international stage. I'm not sure if it's a regional thing. We have approached at a high level with Wellington as well. I'm just not sure that because we don't fit into that mold of the, you can pay, we don't have that agency where we have travel agents selling our retreats on our behalf. Do you know what I mean? And so it seems like that's kind of like, oh no, we don't know what to do with that.
I can concur, especially from 18 years in tourism, doing something fairly niche. I'd have to fundamentally agree with you. And maybe this has been what Tourism New Zealand and the Pure New Zealand brand needs, is just a little bit of time to reflect on where it goes from here.
My name is Ina Bajaj. I am CEO and founder of East Day Spa, Spring Spas and Spring Sanctuary. My responsibilities at the moment are to look at the growth of our companies, whether that be in new locations or new products in both the countries where we're located, Indonesia and New Zealand. East Day Spa operates at the Sky City Grand in Auckland. We are a full-service spa offering massage, beauty treatments, manicures, pedicures, maintenance like waxing. Our main ethos was to bring Eastern therapies to the West. I actually come from a food and beverage background. I ran a restaurant for 10 years, and with that it involved a lot of trips through Asia, going through the likes of Singapore, Bangkok, Bali. I used to naturally go and have a lot of massages and look at spas. Before I even sold the restaurant, I knew this was my path. And I have to say, I've been in the spa industry now for 20 years, and I still love every day of it. So when I sold in the year 2000, I took a couple of years to find the right product mix. And after that, our first location was in Wellington. 3 years later, Sky City approached me to open here at the Sky City Grand. And then in 2010, we discovered our new social brand Spring. And the first one of that was opened in 2012. We now have 7 springs, and of course our flagship here is East Day Spa in Auckland. It's very, very important to have the right trainers that come to the country and actually impart their knowledge towards this kind of Eastern philosophy. At East Day Spa, we have what's known as a yatra. Yatra is a Hindu word meaning journey. And in order to follow our yatra, there are certain things that you've got to feel about the brand. You've got to have some kind of connection with the brand to be part of our yatra. We're very, very lucky in that we have a fantastic team here, and they also believe in the yatra and what East Day Spa and Springs are about. Spas are an integral part of the wellness industry. For too long, they've sort of been regarded as a department or something just for beauty. However, with the current pandemic, wellness has been brought to the forefront. Spas and wellbeing are going to have an integral part to play moving forward. And we want to drop your shoulders. You come in like this, you're going to go out like this. Our whole aim is to make you feel better. That is what we're here for. Of course, it's a place to relax, but in the end, we also have developed new therapies like lymphatic drainage, sleep well packages. As wellness providers, we need to be ready for this new market. We need to make it a bit more inclusive and affordable so everyone can take this wellness product seriously. Wellness tourism has had a monumental increase globally. And what is wellness tourism? Is it a trip to Bangkok for some aesthetic work? Is it a trip to Bali for a bit of holistic therapies? Or a mud bath in Rotorua, or even a trip to the Austrian mountains? Wellness tourism is changing. And in New Zealand, we are so blessed with beautiful scenery, nature, clean air. We need to focus on this new vitamin N, nature. and we have to be ready for it. And in doing so, we sort of need to move with the times and really capture the scenery and the beauty that we have to offer in our country. Bali got its Spa Capital of the World badge many years ago, and there is no reason New Zealand can't. Let's focus on the greenery and the nature that we have, and have more accommodation-based wellness resorts. Have purpose-built spa resorts, like they do in Europe or Bali, and have retreats that last from 5 days to 14 days, where people can just check in and escape. And that is a market that cannot be ignored, because it's huge, and people are really focusing on prevention at the moment. And wellness is at the forefront of their mind and of that kind of travel. With travel becoming so difficult, masking and PCR tests, people will want to travel with purpose. Let's give them the purpose of wellness and make New Zealand a destination.